Hi, thank you for tuning in to Glaze TV today. I am Taz Suleiman, also known as Taz. I am a licensed professional counselor and also Glaze TV's relationship and sexuality therapist. Today we are so excited. We have a group of beautiful, dynamic women here to talk about all things relationships, and you guys are all invited. So what do you guys think is the most important trait or quality to look for in a romantic partner?
I'm going to say stimulate my mind. If you can talk to me, not just about politics, but really talk about real life stuff, you know, and really have a thought about it, a process about it. That is important to me.
That makes sense.
You have to be able to relate to them intellectually, but they also have to have a lightheartedness to that person.
Yeah, I think like that whole aspect of being able to laugh in a world that's so toxic is so important. Like just being able to like connect and build with someone will help with that romantic level. Because I know for me, laughter is medicine.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love these answers. Laughing is so important to me also. Just recently, I've decided that one of my most important traits or qualities is somebody being really self-aware. Because I feel like people like knowing their own selves and knowing who they are and what they want, that's become something that's really important to me also. What influence, if any, do you feel like friends or family plays or has played in your mate selection?
I grew up in a household where my mother and father are still dating each other. And they still like boo text each other. So my goal was to always to find that person that I could like grow old with and build with and have a family with. So I think having that model of my parents like really influenced me and decide like, you know what, I'm not just gonna just fall for anybody. I need to fall someone that's there for the long run, like the whole ride.
The women I come from are very strong and independent, and so there was never this thing like you have to be married, you have to have a man. And it was, I sit there, I was like, oh, what has been my influence? I mean, because I do good by myself. I'm comfortable getting my couch 9 o'clock on Friday night, watching reruns, and I'm good, you know. And so I want somebody I can do that with.
What prerequisites do you guys feel are necessary for a woman to have before she even attempts to get into a relationship?
Experience life being a female and single first. I've never done that. I lived with my parents, moved in with my aunt, got married with my husband. I never lived by myself. So it's like those little things of just being that single female in a city. I've never experienced that. And I think that's one of those things I think I craved in the beginning of my marriage, which could have eventually ruined my marriage.
You know, you start to discover your sexuality and you start to discover who you are as a person, and you want to be comfortable with that, and you want to not just be comfortable, you want to show everybody who you are and really express it.
I see a lot of women in therapy who don't have self-identity. If you don't have a foundation of, well, who am I outside of being a mom, or who am I outside of being a wife? And if you don't have an identity that is separate from the role that you play within those different realms, like an identity as just a woman. And I don't know what age that comes or what it takes. I think everybody needs a little bit of self-exploration to figure out what is that space. Like, how am I going to build identity? It's not always from something external, but you know, it's like an internal spot too. So, well, our viewers also want to know, what do you guys feel about when your partners have friendships with people of the opposite sex? Do you guys get jealous or angry when your partner has friends of the opposite sex? How do you guys handle the situation?
Like, I just feel like my husband is my best friend, so I don't like feel threatened by him being, but I think that it would be weird if my husband was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the movies
With so and so.
It's like this fine line. Like you said, look, if I'm with my partner now, we're together, that's your best friend, we're all gonna be best friends. So we're all going to movies.
Yeah.
We're all going to the grocery store. That's a good thing. So she's your best friend, we're all best friends.
Right.
Hey, how's it going? We're on the same call. And even being on the other end of being single, it's like, even I have friends who they've been single and now they're dating. It's like, for me, it's a respect thing. So I'm not going to call you after a certain time. I'm going to respect your relationship in the sense of, okay, what's a boundary you need to set? Even if she's not setting, you're not setting it. For me personally, I'm like, that's a respect thing.
I will trust from the beginning. But when I feel like that trust has now been compromised, or now you broke that trust, then when it comes again, it's like, okay, now my walls are built. You start kind of like, okay, I don't trust you in this area or that area because of this.
You know, what I realize is sometimes they won't know what my trust issues are. So I'm like, hey, this is important to me for you to do this. Now, if I say that, I said the president, like, this is what you need to do, and you don't do it, and you continuously do it, then I'm like, all right, you've already shown me. I don't have to question it, or, but really your actions speak louder than your words.
Do you guys think it's ever okay to go through your partner's phone, email, or social media without their knowledge?
No.
Those answers came quick and easy.
I think if you do that, like, something's up. To me, I've never felt need to ever look through my husband's phone. Everybody I know who's had to do that, they've already had other signs.
That is a great point.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, okay, so I'm guilty. So I had it down to science when I was with my ex who I lived with, and exactly what you said, I had already thought something. We went to hang out with my friends and we went to here, and they're Nashville, and he's coming in the house at 5 a.m. I'm like, nothing in Nashville closes at 5 a.m.
Right.
Nothing. Legs in hospitals are open. Okay. So I was like, look, he's getting in the shower. I can hear him. Okay, I hear washing good. Okay, let me go through his phone. So, and it's funny because that's the only time I've gone through somebody's phone. And after that, I was like, wow, if I have to get to a point where I go through his phone, I'm in a place where I can't trust somebody I'm literally laying next to.
Right.
So after that, it was like, if I ever get to the point, it's not worth it.
Right.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
It's a gut instinct, and if you feel like you have that gut instinct, then likely there's something else happening.
Right.
And do you really need to violate somebody's privacy, or do you just need to communicate? Look, I feel like something's going on. So either we're in this together or we're not. And if we're not, it's okay. And I think that's the other part that a lot of women are not good with saying, like, it's okay. You're not into me. It's okay.
That's a great point, because I love the point about the gut instinct, and I agree. When something shifts, it's a time to be aware and pay attention, like what's happening in our relationship. And sometimes it may not be that they're sneaking around or trying to
be you.
It could just be like distance. Like, when distance comes up for me in a relationship, I'm immediately like, something feels different. Something feels off. Yeah. Do you guys feel it's necessary to know about past relationships? Like, do you want to know all that stuff, or do you want to know generally, I had this relationship this amount of time, but I don't need the deets, cut off the deets?
When you look at a person's past, it's an opportunity to look at where they are and where they came from. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You look at somebody's struggles, you understand them a little bit better. And it also could be a red flag for you as to this person needs to work on some things before they're ready to be in a relationship.
It's important for me to know where have people been hurt or injured, but I want to know, like, what did you learn from that? Like, oh, this is what, things that I've found that have been really positive about some past relationships, and here are the things that I've found that I've learned that weren't so good for me. I think those general things, but also when somebody's ruminating and telling you, I've come to learn this about past relationships, and it's been a lot of pain and injury, and they're talking about the subject a lot, they're clearly not over it. Tell me about how petty has shown up for you before in a relationship. Like, what's been the pettiest thing you've ever done because you were upset or feeling spiteful in a relationship?
Just one.
I already went to Temple, and Temple's way different now. But when I went, people's cars used to get broken into a lot. So my husband now, we broke up. We had a breaking up, and I was so mad. And he had left all the stuff, in my apartment. He was like, break up, I'll show you. And I took all his shit, but somehow I had a key to his car. And I put all his stuff there out in the open, which is a no-no at Temple. You don't do that. And it was just, I wanted him to know I was so pissed off that I put all your stuff on the front seat, and then your car could possibly be broken. I feel horrible doing that, but
seriously, that's the worst. This is such a pissed off woman move, and I was like, I plotted it like on the drive to his mom's, like, we're breaking up, and in my head I'm plotting this whole thing. It was so bad. And I'm like, so when we get there, put your stuff out and you can take it into your mom's house. You're being really accepting of this, Bethany. I sure am. And we got to his mom's house, and I started to take some of his stuff out, and I said, can I see your phone for a second? Yeah, sure. Took that phone, threw it under the car, got in the car, ran it over, and then pulled off. Laundry all over the street. Like, it was bad. And I was like, why did I do that? And I just needed revenge. But then I look back at it. What did that do for me? It didn't do anything for me.
In the moment, it does feel like really high. In the moment, when you're mad, it feels like a high. But yes, when you go to look back, you're like, it was so immature. And did it really help your pain? No. So I kind of want to know, like, what do you guys feel that you have, like, learned? So all of this information you're giving us, what are some takeaways from this you've learned about yourself as a partner, as far as things you might need to work on, or qualities or strengths that you've gotten from relationship experiences?
So I feel like I've become a lot more affectionate and more loving and more open.
A big thing is not settling, because as you get older and there's all these social, constructs or norms that, okay, you should be married, you should have kids now, and then you have to freeze your eggs, and you have to do this. And I'm like, okay, but, am I happy? Am I really, really happy? Mm-hmm. And what does it mean for me to be in a relationship? Is that what I want? So I think really just knowing who I am and being able to attract what I deserve and what I want. I think that's the biggest lesson I'm learning throughout this process.
I've looked at relationships where I've always had the control, and I know that I have to step back and not have so much control, because just because I'm happy doesn't mean the other person is happy. But then I also have to look at other women, and I think that that's a huge thing for us. Instead of us constantly being catty or looking at other women as the competition, looking at their strengths and saying, what is it that person has, and how can I also envelop that same type of attitude to make myself better.
Being married at 23, I'm different now being 38 with the same guy. Mm-hmm. So it's like, for me, it's more so being able to be more myself and not being afraid that he won't accept me. This relationship has shown me all the different facets of me.
I think for me, I've learned most about vulnerability from relationships, because it's so easy for me, because of the work that I do, to talk about it and to think about it and to speak the language of it from the cerebral place. But when it has to show up, like when I have to speak from my heart more than from my head, I really struggle with that, and I don't realize that I do. So I think the biggest thing that I've learned from relationships is that I still struggle with being vulnerable. Thank you guys so much. This was so fun.